We were sadly unable to do the taping at Casa Pacifica because of the Coast Guard radio interference, so we ended up at the rather more modest Smith house.
Mr. President, I would like to begin our series of interviews today by asking you about your interest in and involvement at Momentum Christian Church in Greater Cleveland. Now, before we get started, is there anything that you would like to say?
If you don't mind, could we just have a moment of silent prayer?
Sure, I'd love to open with silent prayer. Let's ask God to guide our interview. Okay, well, Mr. President, during your first visit to Momentum, was my sermon awesome? And did it pluck your heartstrings and make you want to cry like a little girl?
I would say it was about as emotional a moment as I've ever had. Except, well, you know, it's hard to say what is the most emotional moment.
Very true, very true. Now, tell me about the offering time. How did you feel when Momentum collected money in the popcorn buckets?
I believe the money was for humanitarian purposes, to help
Disadvantaged people by serving the world. Very nice. Amen to that, brother. Now, tell me about the music, specifically James Fruits, that guy who can sing really, really high, like woo, 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 woo.
You don't find him too effeminate?
Well, not personally, but something I'll look into. Now, Mr. President, from what I understand, as much as we talk about Mo groups at Momentum, you've not so much as checked out the Mo group page on the website, let alone shown up at a Mo group.
It was an unfortunate oversight.
But what about the people who have invited you?
I let them down. I let down my friends. I let down the country.
Well, I'm glad that you see that now. Mr. President, as a visitor, if I were to interview every newcomer, whoever came to Momentum, taking into consideration that they were probably very nervous on their first visit, they probably sat up in the back row of the theater where it was darkest, what is the one question you would say that I just have to ask them?
To do any fornicating?
That's not funny, Mr. President. Okay, on to a more controversial subject. After the service, out in the lobby, I noticed that you bought a copy of my hip-hop and comedy CD, Deb's Kid, which is available on iTunes, by the way. Now, later that week, you mentioned to me in passing that you had given a couple of copies to a couple of your agents. Now, here's the problem. I only saw you buy one copy of my CD. I think you burned 2 copies of my album, Tricky Dick.
Look, when you're in office, you gotta do a lot of things sometimes that are not always, in the strictest sense of the law, legal.
Wait. Hold on. Are you actually saying that it's okay for the President of the United States to show up to church, worship God, and then leave and do something that's completely illegal, like pirating music?
I'm saying that when the President does it, that means it's not illegal.
Well, I think that you owe me $20 and an apology.
If you want me to get down on the floor and grovel, no, never.
What, you want to know what I think? I think you're a crook.
Okay, fine. You made a conclusion there. I stated my view. Now let's move on.
Okay, we'll move on. I got one last question. Back to the church service. In the middle of my sermon, you got up and left and went to the men's room, and you missed perhaps my best story and my funniest joke. Now, do you regret that you were on the commode that entire time?
No, I don't. You know what? I wish I'd gone in sooner. And harder.
Oh, Mr. President, I think we're quite done here. Good day, sir.